And we are recording. All righty, guys. All right, so welcome to 40 Minutes to Fab. Heather and I will be sharing tonight about bookings and host coaching for cooking parties. And at the end, there will be a few minutes for questions and answers. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm not Julie Ritter, as it shows on the screen. I am Debbie. And as I said, I'm going to get us started with bookings, since this is the starting point for every successful business. A couple of weeks ago, we heard some great ideas from Haley Van Meter about bookings for virtual parties. And there are a few different things that we can do for live cooking parties. But the truth is, both virtual party bookings and live cooking party bookings come when we are excited, determined, and confident that we have something amazing to offer people. Sometimes when we've hit a little dry spell where too many people in a row ignore us or say no to us, we tend to get in our own way. I know it's happened to me, and for sure, that is why we need to have our head in the game at all times when it comes to confidently asking for bookings. So the first thing we can do to keep our head in the game and become a confident booker is to do what you are doing right now, and that is expose yourself to training and gather fresh ideas and get encouragement. Kudos to you for being on here live or watching the recording. You never want to give up. Just know there is always a solution. We just need to be willing to work for it. All right, so I transformed into a confident booker, and you can too, when we realize what we are really asking our potential host to do. Think about it for a second. We are asking our host to invite her friends over so we can feed them some yummy, delicious food based on a theme they've chosen, all while we cook, laugh, and have fun together. And then we get to reward our host with crazy good host rewards, right? And a nice shopping spree. My question is, why wouldn't everybody want to book with us, right? All right, so it's important that our mindset be that people love our parties and we will get bookings. Our belief in that fact will affect our confidence. And remember, people want to book with a confident consultant. Our confidence is reflected in our body language when we talk about bookings. Are you standing tall with a smile on your face talking about bookings? Your confidence is also reflected in your word choices and your voice tone. Are you using assumptive language, like saying something like, when we do your party with your friends? Or do you hear yourself saying, so do you think you might want to think about having a party? Just let me know. So when we first join Pampered Chef, we start out with bookings a handful of parties from our nearest and dearest friends and family to help us get started. Thank God for family. Then we need to book parties at our parties. So let's get into how we do that. First, at a cooking party, you want to connect with your guests as soon as possible. Now, that doesn't mean pounce on them the minute they come in the door. However, you do want to start making a connection. You don't want to be that consultant in the kitchen with her apron on, not talking to anybody with their head down, waiting for the party to start. Connections are very important in this biz. One of the best ways to connect with people is to walk up and confidently introduce yourself with a confident handshake and a "Hi, my name is," and you are. Then I typically might follow up with something like, "It's really nice to meet you. How do you know our host?" You need to get good at small talk at cooking parties. And small talk is not pampered chef. Small talk is something more like, "Did you have a good day at work today? Do you like to cook? Do you work outside of the home? How many people do you cook for on a regular basis? Do you have any favorite recipes you like to make?" Now, I'm going to urge you, unless you are fantastic at the name game, to use name tags. I personally can't remember names for squat, so I have each guest put their name on a tag, and then it helps me to personally connect with them throughout the show, from the time I greet them, through the demo, and at checkout, because their name is right there. Number 2, use your host to secure bookings. Just like at virtual parties, you can offer, entice, or incentivize our hosts to get 3 bookings for us at cooking parties. Let your host know before the party guests arrive that you will be looking for her to help in securing 3 or more bookings tonight. Let her know the incentive for her. First, PC is going to give her a future party pick, half-price item, at every show booked when they qualify at $200 minimum. Plus, when 3 of your friends book tonight, now this is just a suggestion, I'm going to offer you at the third party an item up to $75. You would use their half-off item at the third party, which would mean at most you're spending $37.50. Again, these are just suggestions. I urge you to do the math, make sure numbers work for you. During the party, then, I might say something like, "Hey y'all, Susie Q gets credit for all bookings and actually is going to get a bonus item from me when she has 3 bookings tonight. So be thinking about So be thinking about, I'm sorry, let me back up. I can't even read. Susie Q is going to get a bonus from me when she has 3 bookings. I will have my calendar ready to book parties at checkout, so be thinking about what party theme you and your friends might like." Now, that you've already told Susie Q that she might get a bonus, she might then pop in, especially if you urge her to, and say something like, "I'm coming to your party because I get a half-off item at your party. Don't you want to continue the fun?" Something like that. And then, moving on, number 3, ask for what you want and be specific with visuals to support you. Consider using a booking binder. Some of our consultants, including Julie, uses a booking binder, and it's going to display party themes like, oh, you do too, Heather? It's going to display party themes like Italian made easy, fajitas and margaritas, soups and slippers, sips and dips, or wine, cheese, and chocolate, just to name a few. It's also going to have in there probably their host flyer, and it maybe even have recipes of each theme to entice potential hosts. Or you can do one of the things that I do, and that's to have my host special in, I hope there's no glare, sitting on a counter or something somewhere and refer to it. And I also have my next available party dates. Now, I'm not going to put on here if it's the first of the month, I'm not going to put the end of the month party dates. I want to put my earliest dates I am booking. And I might say something like, throughout the party, check out our host specials, what's going on this month. Be sure to grab your date before someone else does, because that creates a sense of urgency. Number 4, during your demo, you'll want to spotlight higher priced power tools. And then you want to plant seeds. Something like, "This quick cooker is one of my most popular items my hosts choose at half price. But just so you know, You can choose anything at half price at your party. Do you need kitchen cookware? Do you need new cutlery? You get to choose. What about our new blender? It's your choice, half off at your party. Now, I do want to remind you guys that some people will actually buy these big ticket items at full price. And when they do, and they come to you at checkout, you never want to say, wait, you can get this at half price if you host. If you can sell that at full price, you sell it at full price. You can still try to get them to book a party, but you're going to sell that at full price. Number 5, do a consistent closing where you spotlight the host rewards, and you don't want to skip this. You want to do this at every party. And typically, we do our consistent closing with the 3 ways that you can get PC. The first way you can get PC is to make a purchase. And when you spend $80 or more prior to tax and shipping, you get a free gift from Pampered Chef. The second way is to host a fun party. You might want then, I guess I wasn't prepared, to have your host flip to the back of the catalog and talk to them about the host rewards on the back. If you're doing something like a ticket game, you can say the first one that tells me how much do you get for free with a $1,000 party gets a ticket. Or how many half off items do you get with a $1,000 party? And they get a half off ticket. The third way to get PC is to do what I do. But we're going to save that for next week when we do 40 minutes to fab and recruiting. You don't ever want to glaze over the host reward. I think we're good. Oh. Who is sampling stuff? I thought everybody, oh, there we go. I think everybody's muted. All right. So now you don't ever want to glaze over host rewards because people need to know them and trust that they are worth sharing. Another way during your 3 ways to get PC to share the host rewards is something that I have done in the past, and it's called a booking pile-on. You start, and I might pick on Heather here a little bit. Heather, if you want to unmute, or I can unmute you. You start by picking one of the guests, and you ask them where their favorite store is to shop at. So Heather, where's your favorite store?
Probably Target.
Target, awesome. So Heather, did you know when you host a $1,000 party that you can get up to $215 in free shopping spree? Could you find something at Target with $215 if I handed this to you?
Yeah.
Right? All right, Heather, I'm not done. So did you know that you can get up to, with a $1,000 party, 5 half off items? Do you think you could go back in the store and find another 5 items or sets at half off?
Yeah.
That's my girl. All right, Heather. Now you know we're not done because guess what? After your 5 half off items, if you want to buy anything else, you can get it at 30% off with a $1,000 party. Are you thinking you could go back into Target and find some more items at 30% off?
Yeah, probably.
I'm liking this, Heather. She likes to shop.
Yeah.
All right, you know what, Heather? We have a special every month where you can get 60% off any one item or set or specific things that Pampered Chef puts out. Do you think you could go into Target and find any one item at 60% off and go ahead and get that?
Yeah.
Girl, you got a lot of bags you're carrying now, I'm telling you. All right, Heather, you know I'm not done because I'm going to give you a discount all year long. 10% off anything you want all year. Do you think you could repeatedly go back to Target and get 10% off throughout the year? Yeah, right? That's really cool. But you know what? We're not done because guess what? When 3 of your friends or more book a party from you tonight, you get a half off item at their party. So you could shop some more, Heather. You could save and go another date. Do you think you could find some more items at 50% off when your friends book from you?
Yeah, I'd like that.
Right? And I lost my last one, but guess what? The one final thing that we do offer hosts is up to $50 kit credit. Heather, I don't think any other store in the country is going to offer you everything that Pampered Chef does. Do you think you could host a party and have fun and get a great shopping spree with Pampered Chef?
Yeah.
So that's just a way that you can do share your host rewards, and it's kind of a fun way. All right. And then we're going to move on. Number 6. You want to do a full service checkout chat. Have your calendar and your host packets with you at checkout, and have guests come over one at a time and ask your guests if they had fun and have they ever thought about doing something like Pampered Chef. If they say yes, yoo-hoo, and we're going to discuss that next week. If they say no, then go on and say something like, I know you're wanting to gather your friends and continue the fun. Did you see any party themes that looked fun? Yes, no, whatever. Then you follow up with some assumptive language that's not stressful, but creates that sense of urgency. Something like, Susie Q gets credit when you pencil in a date tonight. I have blank and blank available dates. Which one would work for you? That's using a language that assumes they are going to book. And number 7, if you want, on a limited basis, you can offer bonus incentives for guests who book a party date. Sometimes some consultants use a $100 bag for guests who purchase purchase $100 or more, and they get to pick from this goodie bag. And you can also use that as you get to pick another item when you book a party with me. Or you can do a price of the day incentive. Now, what that means is that's geared towards booking earlier in the month. So you might pick a product like the brownie pan or the microwave popcorn maker, $25. If they book, let's say, February 5th, at their party, you add that to their host reward. So if their party qualifies at a minimum 20%, the customer pays the $5 only for booking February 5th. It brings it down to 20. Minus 20%, you're paying $16. Is that it? I can't do the math. Something like that. $15, $16. So that you're not, and you're doing it at their party. You're not out dollars. And another way is you can do another incentive called now and later bags. Some of you may have heard of this already, where you offer a small prize, $6 to $8. Sometimes people offer spices. Sometimes people go get candy and make a cute little bag. And when they book a party, they get to take that bag. The later bag has a little bit bigger prize, maybe $15 to $20. And they get that when at their party when it qualifies. And you can do them up. You can even put pictures on them. Just make them look really cute. Sometimes people are not quite ready to book. And that is when we need to make a maybe later list. You need to have some sort of system in place because we don't want to rely on our memory because we're going to miss something if we do. So that wraps up the bookings portions tonight. I'm going to pass it over to Heather to share about host coaching, and then we're going to open it up for Q&A.
Nice. Okay, thanks, Deb. Okay, you guys, I'm going to talk a little bit about host coaching because, in my opinion, host coaching is going to make or break your party. You can either have a good party if you have good host coaching, or you can have a bad party. Bad host coaching. I don't know who's talking to you, but it looks like everybody is. I don't have a TV on. Anyways, if you guys hear background noise, just let me know. So to be honest, if you guys are at a party, host coaching is going to start when you're at that party. Okay, so say I'm at a party, somebody's like, oh, I want to book a party, like I've just talked about, right? You're going to host coach right then. Okay, so you're going to be host coaching right then. You're going to get a packet. So usually what I tell people is I say, hey guys, if like the other day I had a party booked and I had 2 people book, and I just said, hey, would you guys just hang out for a couple minutes? Let me get a couple more orders in, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you a packet and just chat with you real quick. So I try to host coach them before they leave, because I want to make sure that I get a chance to go over everything that was in the packet, right? So when I book at a party, I'm host coaching at a party. If I'm going to book, if say somebody leaves and then they call me later, or maybe a past host or something calls me later and they decide to book a party, then I'm going to host coach them over the phone. Or a lot of times what I do is I do over the phone, I do a text message, Facebook Messenger, or something that I've started doing that I really like lately is doing a video message. So I'll just video message them. So it's kind of, cool. You have to be careful on the length because it's hard to send it over with a certain length, but I'll just send them a quick video message like, hey, just wanted to let you know I sent you a packet in the mail. In the packet, you're going to have da-da-da-da. So if you don't have time to call them, because I know a lot of people are like, I just don't have time to call people. You don't have to call them, but you need to do some type of a texting, a Facebook message, or else at least, send them a video message. Does that make sense? So that's kind of what I do. So I either host coach at the party or I host coach via phone or something like that. Now, I know a lot of people get worried about what's maybe going to be in a host coaching packet. I think my number one thing that new consultants are like, I just don't know what to give them. Like, I'm not sure. Guys, it's not complicated. I'm going to show you what I give them. And the reason I do this is because it's only $2.85. If you've ever mailed a host packet and you've done 3 catalogs, it jumps up to $7. So I'm going to show you what I put in a host packet. I do 2 catalogs. Okay. I only do 2. I tell them one is for them to make a wish list on. And the second one is if they want to do outside orders for somebody who maybe won't use the link. Okay. Most people use a link now, so they don't really have to have a bazillion catalogs. I always tell them, if you want a bunch more catalogs, don't worry. When I come, before I leave your party, I'll leave you catalogs. Because remember, this is for live parties, not virtuals. So I give them 2 catalogs. The next thing that I give them is I really, really like this sheet. This is the host reward sheet. Okay, you can order these. There's I think it's like a pack of 40 for $3 or something. It's pretty cheap. And I love this because, especially for new consultants, this will walk you through everything you need to know. It tells you the host benefits. It tells you what they're getting. It tells you about the kit coupon. Okay. It tells you, it lets them write down their Franks list, who to invite. So this will walk you through everything that they need to know to host coach them. This, if you're new, is going to be your best friend, because this will be what you walk through and you look like you kind of know everything. So there you go. So I put this in there. And then the last thing I always give them is some paper invitations. I like to give them a half of a packet. The reason I say a half a packet is because most people don't really use these. So these are $1 for the whole thing. It's 50 cents. If they don't use them, no big deal. Most likely they're going to give me them back at the end. So sometimes people are like, oh, I didn't use these. Do you want them back? Sure. When I come to their party, great. But honestly, what I tell people is you're going to take these and you're going to put them in your purse. And anybody that you see, you're going to hand them. So even if you forgot to invite somebody, that's okay, right? You have these. You're going to give it to them. If you're at Bunko, if you're at church, now you guys be very specific with people, because people don't really realize who they can invite. So the next part is that you're going to want to make sure that people know who to invite. Give them ideas. So I always say attendance is key. So they need to invite Frank. So that's why this is important. So I say, you guys, you're inviting friends, relatives, and I say this out loud when I'm talking to people and they're like, I just don't, I don't know that many people. I say, now come on, let's think about it. You know Frank. And I usually say, you know Frank. And they're like, Frank? They kind of get all confused. And I say, friends, relatives, acquaintances, neighbors, kids. Who do your kids go to soccer with? Who do your kids go to church with? Who do your kids dance with? All those parents you can invite. And if you have one of these, you're sitting there having conversation. Hey, what's for dinner? Oh my gosh, I didn't tell you I have a Pampered Chef party. You give them an invitation. I always tell my hosts, and I usually say this, I say, you guys, people aren't offended when you invite them to a party. People are offended when you don't invite them. Like, they're like, oh, Heather's having a Pampered Chef party? She didn't invite me? That's kind of rude. Like, they feel like they're, they don't have friends. Like, that's offensive. But if you invite them, they're not gonna be like, well, rude. You invited me to a Pampered Chef show? Like, nobody feels offended when you're getting invited to stuff, right? So I think people don't, when I say that, my hosts are like, that's true. Like, I don't get offended when I'm invited to stuff. I kind of feel like that's cool. She likes me. And as adults, we kind of want to be liked, like we don't get invited to parties and stuff anymore. So I do tell my hosts, I say, invite anyone who eats. And they kind of laugh and I'm like, no, seriously, we're feeding them. So invite anybody who eats. Another attendance thing is that I say, you want to invite at least 40 people. And that sounds like a lot, but if you think of the list that I just gave you, Frank's, and if you think about, you're going to invite 40 people, statistically, 20 people maybe are going to say they're coming, right? They're going to be like, yeah, 20 people. That day, you're going to get about 3 to 4 to 5 people canceled. My kid's sick. My kid has soccer. My husband didn't get home on, whatever it is. So you're really going to have 12 to 15 people coming. That's a good party. We want about 12 to 15. Virtual is a little different. You want 30. When I'm doing a live party, I want about 12 to 15 people coming. So that's how I host coach people. I tell them we need about 12 to 15 people. Think about it, you guys. If you go to a party and there's only 2 of you there, do you automatically feel like, oh crap, I gotta buy like $200 worth of crap just to make this girl feel good? Like, you kind of feel a little awkward. So I tell people, you want a good amount of people there because then people don't feel like they have to buy $1 million. And my hosts kind of get that when I put it in their head. You don't want to say, oh, just tell people to come. They don't have to shop. Yeah, they have to shop. No, I don't really, but I do tell them, I say, I tell my hosts, don't tell people just come. Just invite them. They'll come if they want to come. Okay, so that's important too. How I invite is I tell them they're going to invite. I give them 4 different ways to invite. Facebook, and I create the event. You guys, you want it to look professional. So I want to make sure my Facebook event looks professional. A nice cover page, good wording. Pampered Chef, I use marketing imagery. They have tons of Facebook cover pages. If you just type in Facebook cover, it pops up on marketing imagery with tons of them. So if your theme is fajitas and Ritas, throw that up there. Okay, it doesn't matter, but just make it look professional. So you want a picture. So that's why I always create the event for them. I invite them, I make them a co-host. Therefore, they can do whatever else they want to do it. I tell them to invite via text. I don't know if you guys know, you get a URL, that's the party link. When you put it in the browser, up will pop the picture. Remember, it's the nice little, it has like the banner and it says the big date and it says Susie Q's having a party, right? Screenshot that. I just kind of screenshot it, I drag it in a little bit, and that's what I send to people. I tell them, use this as your picture to send out to text or to email the people. So they can invite via text, via email, via Facebook, and then the last one is paper invites. So they have 4 ways to invite people. You should be able to invite 40 people. And you can invite out-of-town people. I don't really care because they're on my Facebook invite, and then I will just post little tips and tricks every once in a while. So that's really how you're going to make sure to get good attendance. Again, we want 12 to 15 people. Another thing I do, not every consultant does this, I've just done it forever and I have pretty good attendance. I typically have about 10 to 12 people at every party, is I offer an incentive. I tell them when they have 12 or more buying guests. That's important because your kid that's coming to hang out, that doesn't count. It needs to be like a buying guest. So I say when you have 12 or more buying guests, I am going to bring dessert. Guys, it's like a lava cake with peanut butter. It's like $4. It doesn't cost me hardly anything. So I usually do the lava cake. I sometimes do a pizookie in the skillet. So I do something like that. Apple nachos, maybe something easy. But if they have 12 confirmed adult guests, sure, I'll bring a $5 dessert. I could care less. And honestly, if I get there and they have 10, do I really care? No. Typically I get there, they say, oh, I have 15 people. They probably have 12. Whatever. 12 is a good number for me. So that's why I do that. So I do that. The next thing I do is I make sure we talk about attendance, but I also make sure to set an expectation of a show sale total. a lot of people think, oh, if I have a $2,000 or $200 show, I'm doing awesome. For us, a $200 show, not so good. But people just don't know. So I always set the expectation, you want $1,000 party, right? And so if we show them $1,000 party, they're just like, oh, okay, she has $1,000 parties, right? I like to use the back of the catalog, kind of like Deb showed. I have them, and when I'm host coaching, I say, hey, will you turn to the back of the catalog real quick? Or I use this paper, and I have them get it out, and I show them the chart, and I just tell them, hey guys, just so you know, when you have $1,000 party, you're going to be getting $215 in free product. In January, it's going to be $430 in free product. So we want to be inviting some people so you get some freebies. Also, you're going to get, and I kind of just go through that chart with them because I want to set the expectation. If I say, now just so you know, if you have a $200 party, you're going to get $20 in free product. Yeah, but they're going to still think that's kind of cool, but for us, that's not, what they want. So I also do get their wish list. I like to know like what big products they want. If they're like, I really want that blender. We're shooting for $1,000 party. They can almost get that blender for free, but can they almost always get it for 60% off? Yeah. So I tell them, guess what? You're going to get it for $130 when you host. So I make sure to just kind of talk about those because we have some amazing host benefits. Like I've done quite a few other parties, and Pampered Chef host benefits are freaking awesome, people. And they don't even have to pay the tax. Okay. I've done other parties where I pay the tax and I'm getting away free. I'm still paying like $100. So I'm telling you, Pampered Chef parties are awesome. I always tell people too, we want to do the 5-15-5. If you don't know what that is, and I tell the host, hey guys, we want 5 orders before your show. So I'm always in communication. So usually it's texting. I'm a big texter or a Facebook messenger, but I'll say, hey guys, how's your numbers looking? And if they're like, oh, I'm okay, I got 3 people coming. Okay, well, we want to get about 5-15-5. So we want to get 5 orders before the party. Can you guys say you have anybody that you're working on outside orders? And, I kind of talk to them that way. And so we want 5 orders before the party starts. That's outside orders, people not coming. We want 15 people coming so that we have 15 orders, right? And then we want 5 orders after the party. That's your 5-15-5. If you have 20 orders, you're probably going to have about $1,000. I mean, maybe 800, you're not going to have no $200 party. Okay. So I always like the 5-15-5. That's kind of something that's always in my mind. And I host coach them like at the end too. If their party's at $620, I'm like, hey, just so you know, at $700, you're going to get $140 in free product. Like I want them to get to that next level, right? So you're always host coaching. It doesn't matter if it's the beginning of the party or the end of the party. We're always kind of host coaching them to do bigger and better. I mean, why not? Okay, so that's that. The next part of a good host coaching is sometimes we need to offer an extra incentive. I personally think our host benefits are amazing, right? But there's some months, and we call them the J months. Okay, let's be honest. Sometimes January, June, July, they can kind of suck, right? So sometimes I will offer a couple extra little incentives. If you guys saw, I did that Facebook, and a lot of us did. Deb, Irene, a lot of us did a Facebook little thing where we offered, hey, we have $200 extra in products. If you put a gift below, and I'll message you. So I messaged them, and if they host, I'm gonna give away a prize for $200. Whatever. That's an extra incentive I'm doing to get bookings, right? Another thing that a lot of times I do is called tic-tac-toe. I send a tic-tac-toe board. And just so you guys know, I can post it in our event, and I'm going to show you guys what it looks like on my phone because I did not print it off, but it's super easy. It's just a picture. It's a tic-tac-toe board. Okay. So you've probably seen it. It's nothing like crazy. Okay. You can't probably see it very good on my phone. Oh, you see it? Okay. It's just a tic-tac-toe board, but it's basically, do you see it? It's just a picture. The reason I have is the picture because I send it to Office Max and have Office Max copy it. You're going to put it in their host packet or you're going to text it to them. And basically, it's just an incentive for them. If they make a tic-tac-toe, 3 in a row, diagonal, up and down, sideways, it doesn't matter. They get a little extra freebie from me. If they get a blackout, they might get 3 freebies from me. You guys, the freebies are on our samples. They're citrus peelers. They're mini serving spatulas. They're a spice. Nothing over $5. I don't do anything. Maybe other people do. They're nice. I don't do anything over $5. So I give them one of those. So one of the tic-tac-toes is have 15 people in attendance. Okay. One of them is have $1,000 party. There's several different things on there, and you can totally change it up based on what you want. Okay. So that's tic-tac-toe. Another thing that people like to do is called the happy host bag. Honestly, I've never done the happy host bag, but I know a lot of people really like that. It's just a little bag that you bring. Okay. And you fill it with those goodies, same type of things, Season's Best, whatever you want to do. Not $1 million things. If you have little thingies around, that's what you fill it with. And then the host, if they have a $200 party, they get to pick out of the happy host bag. If they have 15 guests, they get to pick out of the happy host bag. Tell them beforehand what they're going to get. So like, hey guys, just, this month I'm doing a happy host bag. And so when we get to your party, if you have 15 guests there, you get to pick out of my happy host bag. When you have a $1,000 party, you get to pick out of my happy, whatever, you tell them ahead of time. And then when you get there, make sure to let them pick out of it in front of their friends. Okay, so you're going to say, oh my gosh, Crystal, you did so awesome. You have 15 guests here. You get to pick out of my happy host bag. So I'm going to pass it around and Crystal's going to get to pick out of it. She's my host. Okay, so the reason I do that is because other people, I'm setting an expectation. This is what my parties are. And I'm telling you guys, most people know my parties are going to be at least probably $800. I have a pretty high average, and I have probably 12 to 15 people at my parties. And that's live. I'm good at virtual, but I'm better at live. I've done it for 15 years. So, but do I have a pretty high average? Yeah. And it's because I set that expectation. They know that that's kind of what I expect. Now, have I had little ones? Yes. And do I make them feel bad? No. But it's kind of just set at every party that's kind of what I expect, and that's what I do. And awesome. Okay. So that's another thing. The next one is, let's talk about food. This is where new consultants can get into trouble, right? Because when you start, it's like, oh my gosh, I found this great recipe. Your host says this to you. I found this great recipe on Pinterest. I'd love you to try it. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. Guess why? Because first of all, I'm in charge, right? And I can't just make everything that you want me to make. I'm not a caterer. I always say I'm pampered. I'm not perfect. Okay, I don't cook for a living. I cook for you guys with Pampered Chef products, but I don't just make random steak dinners or whatever you want me to do. Okay, I cook certain meals, and there's certain meals, and this is how I tell people. I say, hey, just so you know, there's certain things that make really good demos and that use our products. So I don't make every recipe. So how you get around that is, I know Irene, she actually, in her host packet, she sends a list of what she makes. She gives them a choice of like 4 or 5 items, and that's her, every month she kind of changes it up with a little dessert or something. What I do is I book the party and I tell them, hey, just so you know, in a week or so, you're going to hear from me via text. I'm going to send you a couple of shows that I'm doing this month. Usually it's fajitas and Ritas, let's be honest. These are my 3 that I always do. Fajitas and Ritas. I always do some type of appetizer I give them. It's usually the spinach artichoke dip in the quick cooker, or Italian made easy. That's chicken bruschetta pasta. Those are my 3 go-tos. I pretty much can convince anybody to do those no matter what, just because they're awesome recipes. They're easy to do. So I tell them like, hey guys, this month I'm actually going to be doing fajitas and Ritas, or Italian made easy, which is chicken bruschetta pasta. It is so amazing. Your friends are going to love it. You can do some fun sides with it. They go with all sorts of fun, themes, and it shows off some great products that your friends are going to love to see. Right? Who's not going to pick it? How easy? Mexican, throw some Mexican stuff on the side. Italian, throw a little French bread and salad, and you're good to go. I don't do the sides. I do a main dish. I do an easy peasy 15-second or less. Like literally, my desserts are throwing some frosting on it, throwing it in the microwave. We're not taking hours to do demos. I got 40 minutes. That's how long. Because people don't want to sit there. They're going to be like, wrap this up, and they're not going to book like Deb talked about. You want them to book a party because they want to have fun. It's all about food, fun, friends, and free products. So I do always say, make sure you talk about the food and you're in charge. This is your party. It's not their party. Their party to have fun, but your party to do. So we're all about making sure they know how to do the food. So there's certain foods that are good for demos and certain foods that aren't. And if you guys need help, let us know. I can give you several station, I do strip style. I can give you some ideas on what are good strip style demos. Okay. So that's the next part is food. You're in charge. Lastly, make sure you touch base with people. Don't go weeks without touching base with them. I'm telling you, cancellations happen. My cancellation rate is very, very low. The reason it's low is because I do all this, but I also make sure to touch base with them. Like just now, I literally I texted a girl and just said, hey, how are we looking? How are you feeling about your party? Do you have a good, how are your number confirmations coming? She's like, oh, it looks good. I have about 6 people. Hey, just wanted to let you know, I looked at your Facebook party earlier. Looks like you have 6 people coming, but you have 32 people invited that haven't even marked yes, no, maybe. Here's what I would say to them, and I give them wording. Because on Facebook, they have 32 people that haven't marked yes, no, or maybe. That means 32 people have not either seen it or haven't marked that they're coming yet. Those are people that they can reach out to. So I said, make sure to say this to them. And remember, when you have 12 confirmed adult guests, dessert's on me. And that was a reach out to them. Will I reach out again in another week? Yep. And just so you guys know, I think Irene does it. I don't do it so much, but you could. There is, in marketing imagery, there's host coaching letters. You can either mail them, like snail mail. Some people really love snail mail. You can mail them, or else you can just text it to them. And it just gives them quick little ideas and snippets on how to have a good party. So that would be touching. You want to touch, not literally. You want to figuratively touch them at least once a week, because Irene, you don't want them to forget about their party. Because if you forget, then they're like, oh crap. They're thinking in their mind, oh crap, I didn't invite anybody. I don't want to disappoint Heather. I'm just going to cancel. I'm going to make up some excuse and I'm just going to cancel my party. So when I have reached with and touched base with them throughout the week, I hardly ever have cancellations, and I better knock on wood because I don't want that to happen. So the last thing is, just so you guys know, is you want to make sure to keep track of everything. Just like when you're doing virtual parties, you have a little check sheet. I like to keep track. If you're a paper pencil type person, there's a tracking sheet on Consultant's Corner. You can totally track that way. I like to keep track in my phone. I use Google Calendar. And so when someone books a party, even at the party, I actually open up my calendar. I put in their name. I put in the date. I put in their email, their address, all that stuff, so that I can easily go in there and find how to get to their party. But in the notes section, I say, talked about doing wine, cheese, and chocolate. Talked about doing fajitas, because I don't want to look dumb like, hey, what recipe are we doing? And they're like, oh, I thought we said we're doing like wine, cheese, and chocolate. That's happened a lot to me. So I make sure to take notes. So I like to keep it in my notes section because I know where it is. So I say sent packet, sent like list of things to make, like recipes. So I always keep notes. If you don't want to do it in your phone, go to the home office page and just check it. Do paper pencil. For the first couple years, I always did paper and pencil. So you can totally do that, but just keep track somehow. You want to make sure you're keeping track. Okay. And the last thing is, if you do all that, you're going to have a good party, but also you're going to have a host that knows you. They're going to touch, they're going to feel like they kind of know you personally. I have, like I said, I've done this for 15 years. I have a lot of repeat hosts. They're like, oh yeah, Heather's my girl. And that's because we kind of made a friendship. Like, I've touched base with them. They know me. So they're going to be your number one recruits. Just so you guys know, next week, Susan and Irene are going to be talking, and Susan's going to be talking about recruiting. So I like to tell you guys, just so you know, you want to make sure to tell them that they can get a kit credit. A lot of people don't know that. So like Deb talked about, you need to tell your host also. Like, they're going to be your number one recruiter. And I used to be awful at asking my host, but I've tried to get lots better. So make sure when you're host coaching, part of it is talking about the kit credit, right? We want them to become on our team. They're our friends already, so we want them on our team. So make sure to tell them about that kit credit. And, I always try to find something positive. Okay, not every host is going to be amazing at organization, but maybe they have like 40 friends. Dude, that's a positive. That means they're going to be good at getting parties. So I'll say, hey girl, hey Irene, you have a bazillion friends. Like, you are awesome at getting people to your party. Like, you already have, 10 people saying they're coming on Facebook. It's only been 2 days. Have you ever thought about doing something like Pampered Chef? Like, I try to get them to do it without a kit credit because I try to let them do the whole party themselves and give them it. But if not, then at the end I'll say, hey, did you know there's a kit credit? You had, 20 people here. They were super excited. I know they booked parties for you. We have a kit credit. So you're going to talk to them also about recruiting because they're going to be your number one recruits. Okay. So those are like my top tips. And I follow those pretty much like to a T. The only thing, like I said, I don't really do is that tic-tac-toe board, and I don't really do the happy host bag. Could I? Yeah. I just don't do it because I don't have to do it yet. But I mean, I could totally do it. It's because I do something else. So you got to find what works for you and what's good for you and just embrace it and just do it. And we always say, do it for at least 6 parties. Be consistent for at least 6 parties. Don't tell me it didn't work until you've done it for 6 parties, and then come back to me and tell me it didn't work. And then we'll kind of brainstorm ideas. But I always say, give us 6 parties and you're going to have better hosts, more people coming, so higher show average and higher attendance. Cool. Okay. Do we have questions and answers? Is that what we're doing now?
Sure.
Okay. People, any questions? Sure. Questions?
You can just unmute.
You got to unmute yourself. Oh, there you go.
Okay. So when you mentioned that you do the yes, no, maybe, does that mean that when you're booking a party, it is using invite and not a group?
Yeah. So, when they're doing a Facebook invite, like I do an event for, so for groups, I do groups for virtual. But when I'm doing like just a normal party, I do an event. And so when they, you can see on the event if they've clicked yes, no, or some people it just says invited, they haven't clicked anything. So I look at that invited list and I literally screenshot it and I say, hey guys, or I say, hey Betty, or whatever it is, just so you know, you have 39 people who have not either not seen your invite or have not marked yes, no, maybe. You'll want to personally message these people, and I have my host do it. I don't do it because they're not my friends. They're not going to get my message. I say personally message them and just say, hey, I don't know if you saw that I'm having a Pampered Chef party. I'd love you to come to my party. Let me know if you can, if you want the invite again. That's what I tell them to say. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense, okay. Because for the virtual, I'm using a group. Yeah. But then for the live parties, the invite makes sense. Yes.
Yep. And I just find that's easier for them to mark going in an event. Mm-hmm. Anyone else? We were just so good. We answered all your questions.
Oh, here we go. How many guests would be too many for a good party?
I've had 30 before. Yeah, I've had 30. And so if I do 30, I don't usually do strip style. I just kind of do talking, but you totally can. You just have 8 people, strip styles where you get a strip of paper, they read from it. When it's their turn, they come up. And so I like that for newer consultants because sometimes it's hard to talk for 40 minutes. So they'll come up when it's their turn and sit down. Karen's party here, she had a big party. She had a lot of people. And so it was okay. We just kind of ran it like we would a normal party. If you have talkers, they can go off to the side. So I've had 30 people. I like 12 to 15. I feel like that's a good party size for me. But I've done 30 before. Mm-hmm. Do you agree, Deb?
Yeah, I do. You can, like you said, have talkers when you have a lot more people. I think we've all been there. I've had groups of 22, and I've had fundraisers with over 30 people. And like you said, they just kind of went off to the side, or you have somebody ask them to go off to the side.
And don't feel offended, right? If they don't want to listen, don't feel offended. That's fine. Who cares? The other people will get closer and want to listen. Now, you don't want to let them talk over everybody. They just, and I usually say, hey, ladies, if you guys want to talk, feel free, but just kind of move over. A few people still want to listen. Like, I don't say it rudely. I don't say it rudely. I just try to let them know, like, hey, feel free to move on over. Whatever.
Shuffle on down.
Shuffle down.
Great. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. I can't see the chats, but how many guests would be too many at a party? We already answered that.
Yep.
Is that all?
Anybody else? Any questions? I will be posting the booking pile-on coupons. And then I do have a recording from one of our top execs Sharon Zellen, that I will post that she did actually at a party, and they videoed her. So I'll post that, and you can see how it actually happened at a party.
Awesome.
And I'll post that in the event.
Okay. And we'll do the recording and hopefully post it so that you guys can share it if you have anybody else wants to listen to it. Or you listen again. Take notes.
I know sometimes it is easier to take notes when you go back and listen to a recording. So, all right. Well, I guess if we don't have any more questions, this is last chance, guys. We're going to go ahead and I'll stop the recording now.